Alec,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
tragedy has befallen us. A great, great tragedy.
A tragedy has occurred. The
Yes, the
taxation
taxation
of
of
trade
trade
routes.
routes. Yes, it's really a bad time for it. But I did have a hard drive situation. I'd
Yeah.
rather not get into the details. It's personal, but a situation,
What?
a
What?
situation with my hard drive,
Okay.
and one thing led
Yeah.
to another. Now I don't have the two survivor episodes that we recorded.
Yeah.
Of course, we took that opportunity. We were like, "Oh, we're behind. Let's do 2 episodes so we can get
Yeah.
ourselves back on track here." Um, and
Of
one of
course
those
not.
episodes happens to be the big, iconic moment where Boston Rob betrays Lex.
Yeah.
Um, it's really
Yeah.
unfortunate because it was a big scene. We had a nice long discussion about it.
We did. We did. We talked about it for quite a while. It was a great. Honestly, we yeah. This is probably like the most interesting episodes of the season, and it was so tragic that we lost them. Before anyone says it, normally we do back them up. It just happened to not happen this past time, and yes,
So tragic.
very unfortunate.
That was
Very
really
tragic. So,
stupid.
but we're still going to try to talk about them. We're still going to try to recap kind of what happened, our thoughts and reactions in general about the episodes, all the same. So so the episode opens up. The first one will be episode 11. Opens up with Lex being like, "All right, we got it. We got this. I'm counting on Rob. Rob's going to do it. He's going to pull through for us because we saved Amber."
He's a man of his word. He will,
Yeah.
pull through for us.
Meanwhile, Rob's kind of mopey. The whole Mogo Mogo is all kind of mopey, and they're somber because they're like, "Well, Amber's gone," and Rob's tries setting up. He's trying to make deals with Alicia, but then when they come together for the challenge, which ended up being a resort stay reward, I think. Right?
Something like that.
Rupert
won.
won.
And took Amber and Jenna with them. Oh, they went in a helicopter, right?
Yeah.
And they went somewhere.
Yeah.
But
anyway, but Rob knew that Lex did what he said. He saved her, And
that was a great moment too. We got to see the reunion of the. It was like they played some emotional music and stuff. It was like, she's there, because they did the reveal of
the merge occurs, and then so the merge happens. Amber and Rob reunited, and it's very sweet and very nice. And then Rob's like, but I didn't mean, you didn't actually think I meant what I said,
I meant
right?
that, did you? He's got these his Godfather, these cocky confessionals he does, and then he's telling Amber, and she was like, I mean, can't we go after Rupert or Jenna first? I mean, he's literally the reason I'm here. And he's like, don't go soft on me now.
Yeah, it was so good. It felt like The Godfather. That was amazing. It was really funny.
He's got an agenda, and he's just running with it. Like,
go for it, yeah.
That's what he wants. Like, Lex needs to be the first one gone, even though he's the reason that she's there. Which, I mean, makes sense, because Lex is like the biggest adversity to him, it seems, out of anybody.
Yeah, Lex is probably the biggest strategy player out of anybody, I would say, in the remaining in the game. So it makes sense to go after Lex in that time of.
But Jesus. But as much as there are similarities to chess, it's not chess. You're dealing with humans, so you see how messed up. Like, Lex is not a fan of this at all. I mean, we had a whole conversation on this. How a big criticism of Lex this season is there's some hypocrisy there, where he sat Ethan down in a similar manner and was like, it's nothing personal. It's all a game, man. And he had a confessional earlier in the season where he's like, it's all business. This is All Stars, so anything goes. So it's cutthroat. And then when Rob does this to him, he's suddenly like, well, it's more than just a game. He's taking it personally, because he felt like him asking him to keep Amber was more of a personal gesture than a strategic thing.
Yeah.
But to Rob, it was all strategic.
He definitely didn't quite. Yeah, it was sort of like one of those things where it was like interesting because it was like, yeah. We talked for a while about the whole like, is it hypocritical? I kind of came at the angle where it is, but I can understand why he was coming from it the way he was, because he wasn't necessarily. He saw what he did with Ethan as something that was very different than, like, I mean, you just said this was more of a personal gesture. But I mean, he was clearly thinking about it strategically too. He was saying, "Oh, well, having him on our side is going to really pay off for us."
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
That's where people got annoyed with Lex, is that he's not really seeing it the same way. It's like just because he got the bad end of it, suddenly it's a personal thing and more than a game.
To me, I think it was sort of what changes the situation is the thing with Ethan wasn't like I did you a favor to do something, to do something. You did something for me, or sorry, I did something for you, so you promised me something if I did that. Like there was like sort of almost a transactional relationship there, and that was X'd out. There was no necessarily transactional thing going on with Ethan and him. Yeah. It's a similar situation, but it's a transaction. He even said with Ethan it was like business. And if you look at it, like, if this thing with Rob is also business, then Rob didn't keep his end up of the deal.
The business deal. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
He said, "You take care of her, I'll take care of you." And then suddenly he's sitting him down, and he's like, "I said I would if I could," or something. He was like,
"Yeah, and I can't. I can't though."
Like, no, you actually didn't really say that, but also, okay. Yeah, you just had no intention to keep in the deal. So at that point, like, you can't get mad at Lex for reacting that way. Like, you just immediately went back on it.
Well, overall, Lex gets screwed. He goes out, and also Definitely. Kathy was really upset by this whole thing too. Oh, yeah. And she was like, "I'm going to give Lex immunity." It was like, "I'll give you immunity. I don't want to have to play the game with him in it anymore." And then, like, last minute at Tribal Council, she's like, "Nah, I changed my mind."
Tragic. Not a good day for Lex.
It was like a double. It felt like double betrayal for him there at that point. Yeah.
I mean, Lex's whole world must have been falling apart because it seemed like he was excited to go into the merge because he was like, "It's opening now, and we can do more maneuvering here." But immediately the first news he gets is that Rob is clearly not gonna uphold his deal.
Yeah.
He's the target, and then Kathy does this, doesn't give him the immunity, so it's just like, oh wow, we just went from thinking I'm gonna be in a good position to just I'm out like that.
Yep.
First member of the jury.
Yeah, just like that. Just like that.
And I will say we didn't talk about, or something we didn't consider before was the Big Tom element of it all, where like
that comes into play in the next episode,
but like
a little bit more.
Well,
he did mention it. Yeah, he did mention it. Yeah,
Boston Rob kind of put it out there, where it's like he was thinking that he would be able to go into the merge and then try to swing Tom over, and that would be his in to move forward. But we never really considered that when we were considering the best path forward for him. We were thinking about how, like, if he should be regretting taking Ethan out at that point because he could have potentially had him here. It would have been interesting if we got into a merge with Ethan, Lex, and Tom all there. They might have been able to maybe come together on that. But we heard nothing from Tom about Lex at all. Like, we didn't get a single confessional on it. He just went along with Rob's plan. We don't know if he pushed back on it at all. Seemingly not.
Apparently not. I mean, it's hard to say, really.
We'll say we did. The tradition of that we started last season was that we would do power rankings after the first merge episode once the first person's voted out. And so your power rankings at this point were Rob, Amber, Tom, Rupert, Jenna, Alicia, Kathy, Sheehan. So that's where we were at after Lex was voted out. And we moved into episode 12, which is the one where Kathy was ultimately voted out.
Yep. She was like, "Oh, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm good now." And it's like I didn't need him there or whatever. So it was like, but they sort of talk about this the Tom element being in the room. Like Tom was gonna betray Rob because he had a deal with Lex supposedly. So that sort of came into play. Rob was talking about that. So he was like, "Well, now I know who's on kind of like on my radar or whatever."
But we did have the long challenge where there was it ended up being 4 to compete at the end of the immunity challenge. It was like Rob, Amber, 2 other people. I forget who exactly, but Rob ultimately wins immunity. There's this trend of Rob just winning everything, but only Rupert stopped him barely last time from winning the award.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, who did we say? Oh, yeah, Kathy and Rob won immunity last time. So, yeah, Rob won immunity before, and he wins immunity again this episode.
Yeah, this was like, wasn't this like immunity and it was a tribal individual immunity reward thing, which is really weird. It was like all of it was like baked into one challenge. Yeah, Rob won spectacularly. There was like,
so yeah, well, this was the big moment of this episode was the fact that Rob gave up his video because he won the video from his family member, Rob's brother, I think it was.
Yeah.
But he was like, Jeff, can I give up my video so everyone else can get their letter? And he's like, yeah. Well, he made Jeff Probst an offer he couldn't refuse. And
he made, he should have said that, honestly.
I made Probst an offer he couldn't refuse. That's the Godfather. Yeah, and then...
That's the Godfather, and it's true.
So it was like, that was a big thing of the episode. A lot of people were like, oh yeah, it's probably a game and stuff, but mostly people were actually appreciative of it.
People were very appreciative of it. Everyone seemed to really be appreciative of that thing. I mean, that was like, honestly, it was just a really wholesome gesture. It was a really nice gesture.
Rob said it wasn't game, but he was like, it was a good move at the same time.
It was a good move,
that's the thing with this game is that you can never do a nice gesture without it just being a game move naturally, because everything that you do in the game is a game move. So
it's so true.
Even if you're doing a nice gesture, there's always that element where it's like, well, it's also beneficial to me in the game too. So.
Yeah.
And then everybody will see it that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kathy did her best to try to pitch to her, and we talked about at the end of this, when Kathy's voted out, we were like, oh, well, what is the path forward for some of these people? Because you have the 2 pairs, Rob and Amber, Jenna, Rupert, and you have Alicia and Tom on the outs of that, seemingly, and then Sheehan, the lone member left of her tribe. So what's the path forward there? Because now those pairs, if they stick together, that they can steamroll the rest of them, and there's not much maneuverability there. So like Kathy had a point, and that's like an integral point here where you should start making this move with me, and then because it's going to be rough for you down the road. But we don't know if it's like Alicia and Tom aren't aware that they're on the outs of this alliance, or what, or if they think they can maneuver with Jenna and Rupert in some way, or what.
Yeah, Tom even admits to, I think Kathy approached him, and Tom even admits he doesn't buy that he's on for the top 3. He knows that he's eventually going to be on the outs. So, but I don't know. We'll have to see going forward if he tries to pull something or.
Your power rankings at this point are now Rob, Amber, Jenna, Rupert, Alicia, Tom, Sheehan.
I think I may have swapped Sheehan and Alicia. I have for some reason. Oh, I think maybe bottom 3, because like on my note I have like a bracket between those 3, and I'm not entirely sure why. I don't remember why I did that.
Since there's a 4 alliance, it seems like they're just
that's why. It's the 4. They're very solidly in the top 4, and those 3 are. They're gonna have to try to do something. I don't know what, immunity or what's gonna have to happen.
It's like a rough path. Just looking at it seems like could Rob make it to the end? He's such a big target, but at the same time he seems to have himself insulated, where he's got connections, like everything's connected to him.
Everything's connected to him, and he just can keep winning immunity.
Where it's like
he's just dominating the challenges. No one can stand a chance.
Because you have that 4. The pairs, And then you have Alicia and Tom, which both are seemingly closest to Rob out of everybody else. So it's like, the path forward against him is almost that they have to be willing to turn on Rob specifically, when he's seemingly what they think is their biggest alliance member right now. So that's a lot to ask.
It is.
Rob is he's in an insulated position, and also by far the best challenge person there. So it's like, can anybody stop Rob and Amber? No, we'll have to see.
Hard to say. So one of the notes also I wrote on this episode was, it's strategy, but it's also about family. And it's really about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
That's The Godfather.
No, that's the late Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
On the Last Jedi.
Yes.
Movie that's about family? Question mark. Anyway.
So that was a very truncated version of what we talked about.
Yeah.
I think we talked about like double the length of this just for episode 11 alone.
Yeah, for episode 11, we went for like 25 minutes just talking about Lex.
That's unfortunate. That was actually the best videos we've ever done. You'll never see it.
Yeah. Way to hype it up. Honestly, we were arguing.
You can just say that's the best stuff we've ever done. You didn't see it, but that was awesome.
You didn't see it, folks. So. No, it was honestly, it was one of my favorite discussions I think we've ever had about Survivor. It was one of those things, again, I've been thinking about the game when we're not watching Survivor. So it's starting to happen.
It's such a big moment. I mean, like...
Yeah. Yeah, because I know...
Such a cut-throat move.
We talked about, or I mentioned a few times, for some reason, I don't remember why in Africa I didn't like Lex, but I came around on Lex this season a lot. I was really gunning for him to pull something. And I think he just took some too risky moves. I think he put himself out there a little too far. If he hadn't done that thing with Rob, then he'd be in much better position. But
not only that, but Rob would be in a much worse position, presumably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But he's also got him set up in different ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lex has added a lot to the season for sure. Like so much of the pre-merge entertainment was from him making moves, especially on Colby and things like that.
Yeah, there was some good stuff there. Yeah.
But and it seemed like he was going to have a big impact moving forward. But out of nowhere, he's the first member of the jury, so at the very least, we'll get to see him at the end have some sort of impact on the end game here. But so we got Lex.
Glad he's in the jury. Glad he's in the jury. I'm glad she's in the jury too. I like Kathy. I liked Kathy.
Kathy
I liked her.
That she was really like trying hard, despite they both seemingly had a miserable time out there, like on that tribe. Yeah. But they were like both really tried for it, and that's what you like to see.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so next week come back and we'll be back in form.
We'll have real Survivor 13. Reactions.
And I mean, we're getting towards the end game here. There are 18 episodes altogether, but the last 3 are kind of like a big finale thing. So we're only a few steps away from that. Truly, the last phase of the game. So now the story of the season is: can somebody stop Austin Rob, the Rob father? Will he have his way?
Hard to say.
All right. So see you next week.
I'm pumped.
All right. What's a video our viewers should watch?
Go check out the episode 1 of Pearl Islands. Check out our reaction, which is a wonderful episode. We get to be introduced to all our wonderful characters that we came to love and enjoy in Pearl Islands. There's our boy Rupert, who's still hanging in there, which is good to see. We're in
such a weird... It's like such a different form of the game right now. I'm playing with All-Stars where all these people have returned. So now it's like, I'm excited to be able to get back to a whole new cast soon, as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Not really soon, but after this.
We'll be there. We'll be there probably eventually. Yeah.
So thanks. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our podcast feed. Like the video. Leave a comment. Hit the notification bell. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Tarqaron TWO.
Yeah, BB.
All right, BB.
BB boy.